Hi guys, it's Charlene Oy here, IBS dietitian. In this week's video, I'm going to be talking about a question that I get asked a lot about, and that is, why am I running to the toilet after eating? Right, so there's a few causes for this, and it's quite a complex area to explore, but I'll break it down into simple terms for you. So one of the main reasons to account for the need to run to the toilet after meals is a strong gastrocolic reflex. So the gastrocolic reflex is simply a feedback system between our stomach and our bowel. So when we eat, our stomach's talking to our bowel saying, hey, there's food coming in, can you move things along so then we can make room for new food that's coming in. And that movement of foods, our bowel move food through a movement called peristalsis. And that movement then squeezes food along and through a muscular contraction, and then food goes further and further down your bowel. And then you feel like you need to go to the toilet shortly after. So for people with IBS, we tend to have an exaggerated or stronger gastrocolic reflex, and that's why we tend to feel the sensation needing to go to the toilet as soon as we eat. And that's absolutely normal, unless your stools are watery, and it's very, very frequent. That's when we start worrying about it. Now, research has shown that our gastrocolic reflex is actually strongest in the morning. So most people find that they need to go to the toilet shortly after eating breakfast, and that's absolutely fine, like I said. All right, so the gastrocolic reflex is one thing that we need to consider. And the second thing is that it could be a gut stimulant that you had that could be making you needing to go. So there's a few things that are gut stimulants. So one of them is caffeine, and the second one is spicy food, and the third one is alcohol. So there's obviously a few other things, but these three foods actually stimulates gut movement and muscular contraction, so they move things along, and it actually works pretty well for people with constipation that they feel that they need to empty their bowel shortly after drinking coffee, and they actually use coffee or rely on coffee on their daily dose of coffee to help them go to the toilet. But for people with diarrhea, we really need to be careful about these gut stimulants and to try and reduce it. So if you drink a lot of coffee, I recommend that you try and reduce your coffee intake to perhaps 1 cup a day. And if it really affects you, try swapping to decaf. And other things that you can try is maybe try and have herbal tea like peppermint tea, for example, or rooibos tea, and these are caffeine free and they might be better suited for your gut. All right, and of course you want to reduce the amount of spicy food you have. Try and have mild curries and things like that, or maybe just go for simpler foods that aren't spicy, and also reducing alcohol intake. All right, and the third thing that we know that could be a cause for needing to run to the toilet is stress or anxiety. So I talk a lot to my members about the gut-brain axis and the fact that our gut actually talks to our brain and vice versa. So if you're stressed, if you're anxious, you might be feeling butterflies in your tummy, okay? And that's that anxiety feeling. You know, I remember when I was a kid, you know, I used to feel like I need to run to the toilet before exams, and then I'm completely fine once I've emptied my bowel. And that's not because of what I've eaten. It's because of stress and anxiety, because I'm nervous about the exams. And so, you know, my body is producing adrenaline, and that adrenaline speeds things through my gut. And so, you know, if you find that you get really nervous before a presentation and you start getting tummy aches, that's a very, very normal human response. All right, and if it does affect you really bad, you might want to then talk to your doctor and look at perhaps getting some medications, or your dietitian, to look at some natural herbal supplements that can help you to calm your nerve. All right, so those are the three main things that I wanted to share with you guys about. Of course, FODMAPs can also make you run to the toilet, but I wanted to address some of the other factors that you might not be thinking about. So I hope that's useful for you. If you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. Send me a DM on my account on Instagram. It's at IBS Dietitian, or reply to this email, and I would love to answer your questions here, because you never know that the question you're asking might help other people out there. And no question is too silly. So I'd love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day, my friends, and I'll talk to you soon.